Damn it. I said really cool stuff too. All right, let me think. I got to do a rewind. Rewind. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Sorry I was muted. Figures. What the heck did I say? I think it was cool. I don't know if it was cool. Oh, so I'm really excited about you guys hanging out with me today, and I'm super excited about hanging out with my friend Nancy. Nancy has been a humongous influence on my journey, on my content, on my spirit, on my it's like a soul sister from another mother that I never knew existed. And we actually met on one of Curiosity Incorporated live streams, and we were talking and everything else, and we spotted each other in chat and said something similar to each other, and we ended up connecting, and you know, it's been amazing. So I wanted to bring Nancy with me today so that everybody knows who does the dials me back when I get all excited and everything else. So I'll check the chat when Nancy comes on, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself and say hi to everybody who's come over to see her. And without further ado, Nancy from This Overstuffed House.
Hi! I see a bunch of names in the chat I already know. Hi, guys! So thank you, Jen. That was, I never knew I quite reeled you in quite like that, but that worked.
You know those phone calls where I'm like,
yeah, yeah, the phone calls, the texts, yeah.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there have been moments you've done the same for me, so that's okay.
Can't hear you. What a good.
What? Did they? Oh, you? They can't.
Yeah, it was me in the beginning. I started talking.
I know. I saw. I was one of the ones typing, going, "We can't hear you."
Oh, well, I wasn't reading at that point.
That's okay.
I'm still very new to this whole.
Hey, you figured out more than I have on how to do this. That's why we're on your channel.
Well, I'm teaching you, and
yes,
you're gonna like explode, and you're gonna like interview people, and you're gonna do all this cool stuff on your channel too.
Oh, you have so many plans for me.
I do. Let's see.
Yeah, we did in the chat, didn't we?
What's that?
I'm trying to think how we met up first, and we did meet up in Curiosity Inc.'s chat, didn't we?
Yep.
So, but we both have similar things. We both inherited a lot of stuff from hoarders.
True story. I want to see who's here. We've got 25 people. Lilacs Vintage Life. That's Christina. And Christina, I gave you somebody else's last name during my live sale, and I apologize for that. I don't remember what I called you, but it was not your last name. I got the Christina part right, just not the last name. Lois. Hello, Lois.
Ginger Girl. Oh, I love the name. Another redhead.
Isn't that cool? Oh, I've never seen Lislot Paulson. Thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Fine.
Is it Jose or Josie?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pretend it's Josie until she tells me he or she tells me otherwise. Aw, hi, Buck. Bestest Smurf. I'm so happy I found your channel. I'm watching your last sale on my TV and you're live on my laptop. Wow, you are a multitasker. You need to teach me how to do that. Oh, that's great, Candy. Thank you for joining. Yes, we all need a Nancy. You have no idea. Nancy.
I'm getting quite the reputation of helping people because, you know,
you are just an encyclopedia.
Hey, I'm no George. I'm no George the Antique Nomad by any means.
I hear so much about this George person.
Have you not met Uncle Professor George?
I mean, I'm subscribed to him, and I watch his content. I don't watch the live stuff necessarily that he's in, but I watch his content because he teaches me an
Does. And he's
enormous
fantastic
amount.
at that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that there was a time when who was there? Jocelyn from Crazy Lamp Lady, Misty from Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, and Jeffrey from Real Nifty Vintage. They all, and I think the two ladies from Fatbird Finds were there, and they
Yeah, I
all
don't
had
think any of them know I
meet
exist.
George at his little hidey hole where he has a place where he stores some of his stuff because he is an antique. And you learned so much because they peppered him with all the questions that the rest of us would want to ask him.
Nice.
And it was a great thing to see. So
did you see Jeffrey? I think it was on Fatbird Finds today. They went live at Jeffrey's new store.
Oh,
and a whole bunch of resellers all drove to his new store.
Yeah. I saw Instagram yesterday, but I didn't see anything from this morning.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the part where I came in, they had a map on the wall, and the guy you're talking about, he was putting pins in the map from where everybody had come from for his grand opening.
How cool.
It was really cool.
I will go find that when we're done.
George is amazing. This is what I keep hearing, that George, he's amazing. Don't hesitate to, I don't like to bother people, if usually they need to like feel me out a little bit first.
George is an absolute doll. George has advised me on a couple of things. He is a gold mine of information and is so nice about, people asking him questions and getting information on a piece that we can't figure out. And he's just great. He's absolutely great. So.
I've always wondered how my name would be pronounced in English. I called it Lizlot. Or Lysalot? Is it Lysalot? Did you see my, yes! Oh my God. Well, now you didn't tell me whether you're Jose or Josie, but my gosh, yes, you found that exact land. I so appreciate that. Now, my girl is in, much worse condition than the one you found. But I don't know if she wants me to reveal who she is on who bought it. But we talked about it earlier and we settled on a price, and she's very excited, and she's going to fix that girl up and make her beautiful. So I thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to send me that information. Oh my gosh, I appreciate it so much.
Okay, so it's Jose. Okay.
Jose.
It's pronounced Jose.
Yes, George did pop in on the live.
What is George's channel name? The Antique Nomad. So the Antique Nomad is George's channel.
I think Julie Smurf is here. She can post the link. I'm happy to promote.
Yeah, I'm one of your Smurfs, and I'm busy.
Me too.
I see Trisha's here too. Trisha's been like our biggest cheerleaders has been Trisha.
She has been. So in anybody that saw my live sale on Wednesday, was it Wednesday? I'm starting to lose track of the days because I've been on vacation.
Yours is on Wednesday. Mine is on Thursday.
Okay. Wednesday, it was Wednesday night. And, I go into Trisha's sales all the time because she has a lot of similar stuff to my mom's. And, I learn from Trish. So she says things and she talks about the glass patterns and the different types of ceramic. And she's just a fountain of information. And she puts up with me, because I'm like this hyperactive kid in chat going, what's that? What's that? Does it glow? All this other. So anyway, I really wanted to see her get up there to 1,000 subs, and she hit it in my sale, and it was just amazing. It was an awesome, awesome moment. And then I turned around and this whole rush of people all of a sudden started following me, and they're sending me the most heartfelt emails and leaving me comments, and I have cried and laughed and just felt so unbelievably supported and loved from this influx of people that have come in. It's been awesome. So when I noticed that a lot of these new people had been in my sale and didn't know anything about, the reselling community, which is completely different
Oh
from
yeah.
from what I do. And you and I planned on talking about that. So when
Yeah.
Trisha came in, I was like, she only needs like 40 something. I don't remember how many it was, but I was like, she just needs 40 something people to click on the thing and she gets 1,000. It was so awesome. But yeah, Nance, let's talk about that, because a lot of people, when I started out, I was going into reseller chats and I was meeting all these resellers because I was feeding information from them, about the glassware and the ceramics and
Well, yeah, because that was your plan, is to sell it all off, and then
sell
you
it
have a
all.
goal in mind for that.
Yep.
And that was part of your process. But you're also kind of a, like you said, you're a one and done.
Yeah, I'm not a reseller.
Unlike
I'm a
some of the
seller.
rest of us who we have to look at the next 20 years of this.
Yep.
For us, it's a job because we have it. And I'm one of the few that's on that fence with a leg in each side.
Yep.
Because like you, I inherited a bunch of stuff, but you got yours all at one time, and your mother was an antique dealer.
Yep.
I got it in waves. I had 3 title waves over a 14-year period. So mine, you'd get dug out from one, you got the next one. You got dug out from the next one, and here comes the other. And then when I got downsized out of a job, it ended up, I lost the storage unit. So I had to bring it somewhere. And since I had no living room furniture, because that got divvied up among the siblings, I got the house and all the small stuff. They got the bigger stuff. So the biggest room is the living room, and it was empty. So this is what I jokingly call Warehouse 13 behind me. This end is kind of the catch-all end, because the other end is just way too claustrophobic because the boxes are literally right up against the back of my chair at that end. But it's a process, and now it's all mixed up, because in the unit, it was a big enough unit I could go, okay, well, this is all from the other Nancy, the massive book collection. And then this is from Aunt June. And then this is what's left from my mom's units. And then when it all came in here, it's all kind of mixed. So every box is a treasure hunt. So sometimes I've done live unboxings just so we could go, okay, what's in here? Because I know there's cool stuff, but I never know what. And the fun for me is that eventually there's going to be massive fabric sales, because my mother's hoard was a lot of stuff for sewing, because she was.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to do that too. And that's not here. That's not at my mom's house. That's
your stash, because you're a quilter.
I am a quilter, but one thing that I haven't talked about in my journey is that I've gone through a lot more loss than just my mom. I lost my best friend in 2015 very suddenly. She was a lifelong quilter. I inherited everything in her studio. This was before I even had my mom's house.
Yeah.
There were 2 other quilting friends that passed away, and one of them I didn't inherit stuff from. But then the second one that passed away, I somehow inserted myself into helping the family. So she had left a note for her children on everything that she wanted, to have happen with her stuff and everything else. And then she slapped a poster on her sewing room door and said, "Do not enter this room called Jan."
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's how I ended up with the books.
Oh, really? Well, this is all before my mom's house. This is my at my house and things like that. So I'm actually the president of a quilt guild. We haven't met because of COVID in the last year. But I started gathering up her stuff as she requested and was rehoming it to all of the people in the quilt kit. And we did community quilts and charity quilts and, you know, all this other stuff. So I didn't end up with a surplus of her stuff. I was just spreading it out into the quilt world. But yeah, that was, but I have a lot of fabric, and I was very excited when I your live sale, you brought out some fabric, or you talked about it, and everybody was
talked about it.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, oh, I can thin out my sewing room too. Babe's very happy about that.
Were you there the night we talked about the stripper beads?
Yes. No.
Yes. See, there we go. Yes.
I don't know.
There is a box somewhere, and they actually have the pamphlet in with them. And they were made in the 60s or 70s, and they were made to be the curtains for in a doorway, because that was a thing for a while there, to have these bright colored plastic beads that were long enough to hang to the floor all the way down your doorway. And my mother, she did a couple of outfits for a belly dancer. And so then did more outfits for a friend of hers, but the friend also stripped. She did a burlesque strip.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did hear you tell that.
Got to have the wild the more colorful outfits for that. And so she brought her all these beads to go all over, and then she let Mom keep what was left because, you know, she didn't need that many, and she had bought at a flea market. And here the pamphlet was still in the box of all the different ways to decorate your house with these beads.
Okay, wait, I missed something. Lavish Mango says copyright issues for a t-shirt.
Oh, somebody suggested, because I jokingly call this Warehouse 13. Warehouse 13 was a TV show, and it was based on the idea that some things in history had, like Jules Verne's Time Machine might have been real. Like they would tie it into the show.
Gotcha.
Warehouse was where all this stuff that would be dangerous in amateurs' hands would be hidden away and protected. So that's because if you can't tell from the big birdhouse that was friend mail, there's a giant TARDIS behind me from Doctor Who. I'm a science fiction geek. I'm a
Harry Potter geek. See? Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
I thought that's what she was talking about when she said copyrighted t-shirt, because I saw this online, and my girlfriend Sabrina has a Cricut.
Oh.
Every time I'm like, oh, I want that on a shirt. And she's like, poof, okay. And she does shirts for me. So I thought that's what she was talking about.
No, they're talking about Warehouse having Warehouse 13.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fabric is my downfall, and I've collected it all. When I'm done with this house, I will definitely give a tour of my sewing room, and we're gonna, before I lose people's interests when the house sells, definitely gonna deal with that sewing room.
You'll turn into a quilting channel and can teach us all what to do with our fabric.
I do. I miss quilting. It is so meditative, and so I'm a process person. Some quilters are like bang, 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 get it done. Me, I love the process. And I did teach a lot of classes. I've taught beginners quilting. I've taught machine embroidery. I've taught hand applique. I miss that world. I really did. That world was taken away from me. I can't just, let this house sit.
Well, yeah, and you end up with so much to do, and trying to, in my case, it was, I have a nephew I raised. So when I talk about my son, technically he's a nephew, but he's been with me since he was 2, and he's 26 for a couple months. But you're trying to raise a kid, you're trying to take care of a mom who was a polio survivor whose health is getting worse and worse. And then when she passed away and you just inherit this stuff, then you're just treading water trying to keep up with all that goes along with that. And so a lot of the things that you like to do to keep you sane, or your hobbies, they fall by the wayside. They really do. And I haven't done community theater in 14 years because I haven't had the time, and I was in
drama when I was in high school.
Yeah, I've been singing since I was 6, and I used to sing up a lot of
Oh,
operettas and
cool.
love Gilbert and Sullivan stuff. And in the area I'm in, there used to be 5 Gilbert and Sullivan groups in this area.
Wow.
In Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia, PA, there were 5 different groups. Now there's 4, but
I
there's
was in
still
drama in
4
high
in one
school.
area. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I was always afraid of drama because I'm giving me lines and I'm a little nervous, but let me sing and I'm good.
Oh, I loved it. I was actually we did a big production of The Wizard of Oz when I think I was a freshman in high school, and I was the Cowardly Lion. You can probably see it with holding the tail and that kind of. I loved it.
I didn't want to ask if you were the lion or the scarecrow. I
I
didn't
was
want
the
to
lion.
ask.
I was the lion, and it was freaking awesome. It was the best experience ever. And what's funny is um there's a couple of people that I went to school with that were in that production that are actually like super famous now. So I can't remember what year it was, but I was a freshman in high school. Um, Dorothy was Maggie Kiley, who you can
Mhm.
look her up on IMDb. She's actually like a big time producer and director.
Oh,
She
that's cool.
was Dorothy in the play. And then one of the little munchkins, are you ready for this? Was Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig and I went to high school together.
Oh, that's wild.
Isn't that funny? I mean, and she's a riot. We lost touch, years and years and years ago because I ended up, getting pregnant really young and left home and, temporarily dropped out of school, and I made all kinds of mistakes. But, that was fun. I like to look back
Oh,
on those memories.
I don't know if they're
Okay.
mistakes so much as missteps. The path suddenly
Yeah.
took a turn, or you
Yes.
stepped off the path, whichever way you want to look at it. But
So
life happens.
yeah, I saw the note here from Candy that she listening to us ramble on while she's dealing with an inheritance on her own, going through
Yeah.
boxes. I hope that it's obvious stuff for you, Candy, so it's not easy, so it's not difficult to figure out, donate, gift, whatever. Because man, that would really make this process so much easier for me. And Nancy, you want to resell everything because that's going to be your lifestyle, right?
Yeah. I'm only 55, but I've already had a heart attack and I've already had a mini stroke. And now, there have been issues that my markers are high for inflammation, and they haven't said it's fibromyalgia because I have some of the same markers for lupus, but not enough of them to be over that limit so that I'm technically do have lupus. So they just say it's a matter of time. It'll either be somewhat dormant or whatever, like it is now. I don't completely understand the science behind it all. But, for me, I've been in retail since I was 16. It's a long time. And the older you get, I've been manager of several stores, but the older you get, the less likely you're going to get into that management position. So right now I'm working at a convenience store, but it's taken a toll. My body's got other health issues that there's adhesions and stuff. So I can't lift and do shipment like I used to. So
Yeah.
and I have all this stuff that's been, over the last 14 years was the first one. But the last one and ending up with it all in the house was just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Babes keep saying that,
Yeah.
you're only in Pennsylvania. You're not that far from us. And that would be a pretty cool bike trip kind of thing. So
bike trip? I can't make it up to the 3rd floor some days.
I'm talking a motorcycle, our motorcycles.
Yeah, that would
So
be.
we were thinking that maybe at some point this summer we're gonna ride down and help you like clear some of the piles and set up shelves and do stuff like that, just for an excuse to ride our motorcycles.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice places to stay too on the way down.
Yeah.
you know.
So
So
this question here, Nance, I think
I haven't dropped the bombshell on you though about summer camp, because some of you that um are on my channel know that Jan and I have been talking about Boy Scout summer camp, because I'm an assistant scoutmaster in Boy Scouts. I'm head of advancement for 52 kids, which also takes up a chunk of my time. But Boy Scout summer camp, somehow there was a glitch, and I was supposed to be up by the New York state line the very last week of July, and it's now the very first week of August.
Oh,
I'm going to be a week late, Jen.
I'll still be here. I'll still be here, and I'll still have plenty of stuff to do. So this question here, Nancy, that's on the screen, I don't know the answer to that. So I'm gonna see if maybe your knowledge bank. Sure.
I've tried a couple of different things to get especially if it's a slight cigarette odor, it's easier to get out. Get yourself a gallon jug of vinegar. Doesn't matter if it's apple cider or white vinegar. And then when you're gonna have to wash that stuff. And I know some people they prefer not to wash their fabric because there's sizing on it, which keeps it nice and smooth and flat. But to get rid of the smell, wash it and put a full cup of the vinegar into the wash water. Because something in that, because cigarette smoke not only has a smell, but there is a slight oil residue to the smoke itself.
Yeah,
and
the nicotine.
Break that to get it off of the fabric. And if you do it in warm water and then put a full cup of vinegar into that water, that
but not
usually
the detergent too, right?
You can put some of the detergent. Most of the time, I just put the vinegar in.
I'd be afraid of a science experiment happening.
One full cup of vinegar and run it through a rinse cycle, and that usually gets rid of, as long as it's not really heavy smoke smell, that usually helps get rid of a good bit of it.
What's Pacific Rim? Christy says she watched Pacific. I'll have to catch up and figure out what that's about. I don't know what that is. Oh,
that's
wait.
That's science kind of.
I gotta scroll back up. She phonetically spelled out her name for me. Where did it go? Here it is. Liz Latte. Liz Latte. Nice. Okay, I just needed to know how to say that.
Let's see.
She likes my Harry Potter t-shirt.
Oh, Candace here. I see your comment about how you only have some idea of the items in the boxes because it could also be from your grandparents. And yeah, that's part of what I have here. It's a process, and when you go through the family stuff, you know, you'll find some cool stuff, and other stuff you'll have no clue. Some stuff will create questions.
I don't know which comment you're responding to.
I don't know that you're up to, but Candy A says she only has some idea of the items in the boxes that she inherited.
Okay. Gotcha.
But she said her grandparents also passed away in the last 2 years.
Aww,
so some
that's a lot of loss.
So be in there, yeah, and that can be rough. When my father passed, it was sudden. I was only 30. By the time I was 31, 6 months later, we'd had 11 funerals. And I suddenly became instant parent to a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So it can be rough.
Yep. I got that's where my cover photo for my page, my YouTube channel came from. It's all about how you handle Plan B, because that is just it just encompasses everything that keeps happening to my life.
Yeah.
All my plans, it just whoop, you got to go this way now, and you got to go this way, and you got to go this way.
Yeah, because this selling online was Plan B. I've been doing it before my mom passed. I'd been on eBay when it was only 2 years old. So I'd been on that for a long time, helping her clear out some of her stuff that the kids didn't want, you know, and that helped her finances. So I've been doing it for a long while, and then suddenly got all of it, and then found out about the storage units that she never told anybody about. none of us knew. So
I think this question is for you too, Nance.
what?
Do you love Andrew Lloyd Webber music?
Oh, I love Phantom of the Opera, but Starlight Express can roll away.
I don't know what that means.
These are two Broadway musicals. They are two Broadway musicals.
Oh, gotcha.
Phantom of the Opera is probably the most known one. He did Cats too. Starlight Express is all on roller skates, and it's very unusual.
I'm just trying to catch up with the chat here and make sure that. Yeah, it is a great website, Christy.
Hey, Paul's here.
Cousin
Paul. Look, we both started to say it at the same time.
Yeah, right? Paul is local to you, right, Nance?
Yes. Paul is only Paul's only a couple of towns over. Paul is actually kindly loaned me warehouse space while I get the Black Hole Challenge room straightened out.
Nice.
So get shelves and get all that unpacked and sorted and figured out. And
Paul just picked up quite the haul of stuff for $50.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not shippable stuff. It's stuff that he's gonna have to flip on Facebook Marketplace. But good for him. What a
yeah, but at least he can. Lucky
right.
work. I'm in a, let's say, an economically depressed area with a reputation. So Facebook Marketplace does and yard sales just don't work for me because half this county thinks that every place in this town is dangerous and drug-ridden, and this is a big city. It's not all like that.
Yeah, Rochester's like that too. I mean, there's a lot. Most of the city are a little difficult and not the greatest place. I can't have sales at my mom's either because of that reason. Yeah. I mean, I actually would just be dealing with theft all day long if I put stuff outside, and then probably theft after the fact for exposing what's in the house. So it's not doable. So Jace Ventura 2, this is one of my new subscribers. It sounds like they got 3 generations too. Overwhelmed, yeah. Well, I hope.
Jace, yes.
I hope that watching some of my videos helps you, compartmentalize on how to do it, because it took me 3 years to get to this point where I can actually get here and not spend the whole time what do I do? Which is what I spent a lot of time doing. I didn't know where to start. I was overwhelmed, but now I've got this forward motion and this constant knowledge coming in from this community, and just, I'm inspired, and I hope it oozes out to everybody that's struggling with similar situations. It's certainly not to this magnitude, but maybe there are some people that are in the same situation. I don't know what the volume is of your 3 generations.
And Jace, that's one of the differences for Jan and I, is that she can show you good ways to organize it all while you're figuring out what to do with it all. And I have some things on my channel, the moral support. I'm always going to be your cheerleader. You're on that same journey with me. I've already been through it, emptying some family houses. And so it seems to be mostly a generational thing of all the ones that went through the Great Depression all had packed houses. And it seems to be more generational than others. But I will always be there as the moral support. And I have videos I talk about breaking it down into goals. You have to have a goal. Yes. And sometimes you have to have you can break it out. I have a notebook. Here's the thing that helps me break it out, is I actually have a notebook that has goals per room.
We have the same brain.
By room. You have a notebook too? Oh my goodness. I have goals for each room, and they're all broken down into that.
Same.
I had no idea you had a notebook.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I think I don't actually reference the notebook very often when I'm here. It's the act of writing it. I've always been a list maker, and being when my mind is just going, a million different directions at once, to write up a list helps me mentally sort it. So I know what's on the list because I wrote it down. And then I go back and I'm just like, I start checking things off and reading.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to check things off, but
Right. And then I'm just like, I need a whole new list.
End goal. Even if that end goal is something that's small, I need end goals to help keep me going.
Yep, me too. Our end goal is to sell this house, to unload everything in this house, and to do it as painlessly as possible, because there's still that, my mom is still here. It still feels like my mom's here, and
oh yeah. And I live in the house I grew up in. So
yeah. But your situation is a little bit different because, my mom's hoarding illness, I mean, it was extreme, big.
It was. It is.
And I talk about it in some of my videos and process it, but I'm just trying not to go backwards too much. I'm trying to, one of the biggest things that helped me when I started trying to really formulate a plan to get out from underneath this, I joined a support group, Facebook, and it's called Adult Children of Hoarders. And there are people here. I mean, they screen people coming in. So it's important that you're actually, in that situation in order to get into the group. I went there, and man, I just started pouring out my soul to these people, and it helped. It helped to talk through it. And that's where I got a lot of my emotional baggage. I was able to unpack it. It still comes up at me from time to time, but that's where the majority of my hyperventilating ugly tears came, during that time. And, the more I started to lift myself up and be my goofy self, and, that's when it started to, okay, it's time to be done. It's time to be done with thinking about all the bad stuff that happened with my mom, and all the bad stuff that is a result of having this house in my life, and just accept it and move forward. So and that was why I launched my channel, to make it fun, to make it mine.
And also, I think with launching the channel, you found out you weren't alone.
I found Nancy, you have no idea.
I mean, I joined the reseller community in 2020, a year ago. The plan for me was to resell, because for me, this is also a financial thing that I need to do because of finances.
Right. You're going to be doing this full time. So you need to.
This is going to end up probably by the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. This will probably be the only job I have.
So it'll be full time.
My company's moving the job, and I'm not been told that I'm being moved with it. So I'm making my plans here, So, which is why sometimes you see me, I will buy something in order to supplement what I have from the estate, because your mom was an antique dealer. None of the people I inherited from were antique dealers. Yeah. They were average people with one or two particular things they really loved, like the massive book collection lady, or they just were everyday people, and it was kind of everyday stuff. So if I happen to be somewhere and I find a nice piece of glass for a reasonable price that I can resell, I have to do that, because I have to keep an eye on the financial side of it. Right. For me.
Right. So see, the everyday stuff that was here, that's the stuff that I was unloading in the beginning. I was in pay it forward groups, and free community groups and stuff like that. And there was a situation where literally walking distance from here was a major fire, and it was like 15 apartments families had been displaced from their apartments and things like that. So, you know, my mom didn't just, if she saw, because she had that reseller mentality, and it wasn't just antiques. It was, if she saw a set of sheets marked down
Oh yeah.
$2,
yeah. Now my mom didn't have that one, but my aunt
she
did.
bought 10 of them, you know. So that was the kind of stuff that I was just like, I'm not going to resell this stuff, you know. So in the beginning, like these families, man, I just started filling bins of sheets and pillows and socks and shoes and, you know, stuff for these families, and just dropping it off.
We did that with Aunt June with her stuff. She had that, and it took months. And then her house was the carriage house attached to the main house, which had been her parents, and there was stuff that she just left in that house too. So we had that to do as well. And
most of that stuff is
a
gone.
lot of the clothing, all that, all that kind of everyday stuff.
I donated it. I donated it all over the place.
Donated. And for fabric, I took a ton of fabric, and it's just in the video I posted about how I got this far. Is a local county retirement nursing home. They want to call it a retirement home now, but it's not quite. That's near me. And I have taken carloads of fabric and laces and threads and took that to them. I filled my car packed tight twice. And they went, "Thank you, but stop, because you've given us enough." Oh, did you not catch that part in that video?
Yeah, I did catch that part. And
can you stop?
It just occurred to me again.
So, because I'd filled every cabinet that they had. I mean, they already had some stuff, and every year they would do a big crafts show and sell the stuff. But I filmed them. They said, "We've got enough from you to last us at least 2 years."
Nice.
I mean, yarn, everything.
So let me redirect. I want to redirect back, man. I'm going to redirect back just at the chat and see if people have questions for us. There's my babes. Isn't he cute? Hi, love. Okay, Julia had to go. Bye, Julia. Sorry, it was probably like 10 minutes ago. Hi, Karen. Let's see what else we got here. Anti-icky poo works too. I'm going to make that the word of the day. I don't know what that comment is in reference of, but I love it. Anti-icky poo. Maybe it's a product.
It's got to be a product, but I love the name.
Vinegar instead of fabric softener. That's probably about getting the smoke out. Let's see. Lavish mango. Yeah, I was worried about that. Mixing vinegar with detergents. Just make sure make sure there's no chemical reaction. Sudsy.
Well, I know, don't ever mix ammonia and bleach.
Yes.
No, because that creates cyanide gas.
Yes.
You don't want that.
So Terry Sarsanella. Hello, Terry. New name to me. Sudsy ammonia will help with fabric odors too. If you're new, please make sure you're subscribed to both channels. Yep, my Julie Smurf has been posting all kinds of links. So please check them out. A lot of them are reseller communities or reseller people like Nancy. But they all have their own story and they all have their own personalities and journeys. And, just go over and subscribe, at least watch, 1 or 2 videos and see if it's something that, adds to your life. Because, I mean, that's what everyone's trying to do, other than, also try to, like in Nancy's case, make an income, make a full-time job of it for herself. Blind by Beauty. Hello, darling. Okay, 1 cup of vinegar and warm water in the washer, a full wash or only the rinse and spin? Should I wash with detergent afterwards or will I need to? Thank you so much.
You should need to. The vinegar smell dissipates a lot faster than you would think. So once through the dryer, I would probably, since you are trying to get rid of the cigarette smoke, I would probably run it through a full wash because that should definitely help get rid of it. And then you won't. Then the rinse should help get rid of any residue of the vinegar smell.
Candy, your story just gets heavier and heavier. Man, I can relate, girl. So
Oh yeah, candy.
lost. Wasn't there, didn't you say, so I literally lost count, but between 2011 and 2018, when I lost my mom, there was 11 deaths in my life. And it just rocked me to the core. I mean, I was face down, and had to rebuild myself from the bottom up. So I get it. I get the not wanting to answer the phone. I did the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Crawled into a hole and I stayed in bed, and I was scared to make new friends. And I really had to process that. I was so terrified of hurting more from losing people that I loved. And it was awful. And I worked through it, and therapy and friends and that type of thing. And life is short, and I am going to go love and lose as often as I possibly can for however much time I have left. So hang in there, girl. One foot in front of the other. Keep going, even if it's just to breathe all day long. Even if you accomplish nothing other than breathing in and out and feeding yourself. That's very important. I forgot to do that a lot. I still forget to do that a lot. Hang in there. You are not alone, Miss Candy. Not at all.
No. And Candy, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Jan's comment, because there are so many times that I have just texted her, breathe.
Yeah. It's usually because I'm
yeah. But
Teofane, that's a new name.
Filming.
Paul saying hi to Babes. I'm afraid when we go down to Pennsylvania that Babes and Paul are going to get together, and we're not going to see them for days. They're just going to, Babes is going to head over to Paul's warehouse, and he's going to start building all kinds of contraptions and stuff to further organize Paul's warehouse. And because Paul's a full-timer too, he's living his dream. He's a reseller, and he goes out and he purposely gets storage units and piles of crap to go through and sell and everything else. But he's got the motion, and that was actually helpful to me to see people bring it in, get it out, bring it in, get it out. And that was part of where all this new motivation came from. I'm like, yeah, let's get it out. Let's unload this house. Love musicals. Hello, Miss Cher. This little sweet lady, Nance.
Oh, there she is. Hello.
She started watching me. I forget now where she said that she found me from, but she started watching me, and she got inspired, and she started her own little channel.
She did.
She's only got the last time I looked, she only had one video up and just a handful of subscribers. But man, she is just the sweetest little thing. Definitely go check out her channel. Give her some encouragement. Candy, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Man, I am really behind. I'm going to pop through some of these live sale on roller skates. That could be fun. Ooh, I see a video coming.
No, Janet. Oh. Some of us don't want twisted ankles. No.
Oh, thank you, Cameron. That is so cool. Yes, yep. Meditation, it is cheaper than therapy. Well, not really, because fabric's kind of expensive, but it's a close compromise. Nancy's my Smurf, my Julie Smurf. I just love her. Is Julia Smurf for you, Miss Nance?
I don't know. I think so.
On your channel?
I think so.
I went to a high-end garage sale where the house was locked and volunteers were posted at the door so no one could even try to get in the house. Wow, that sounds like an adventure.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different.
I share. Hi, Terry. Can you see these on your screen, Nance? Or
I am. I've been seeing them pop up, and I've seen a couple people in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know. I started watching you from your videos, and whoa, I couldn't imagine. But how I would love to come shopping. So I'll be tuned in for. I don't know how close you are, Candy, but that can be arranged. We are. I'm trying to refocus on sorting and getting the like things together. And man, as I meet people, if the hair doesn't stand on the back of my neck, and I think you're some kind of absolute whack job that's gonna like hack me to death or something, yep, come in and shop. Bring a truck. I paint items that get stuck at thrift stores and can't find a home. Oh, what a cool idea. Yeah, so many people are working to just keep things out of the landfill,
Yeah. Yeah, there's
true.
one that does vintage, what they call vintage rescue squad, because that's Misty's feeling from Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, is you are keeping some of these gems out of a landfill by finding them and offering them up for sale so that they can find a new home where they're going to be cared about and cherished.
Yeah, if anybody here, so what I'm going to do after this live, what I want to do is I'm going to put a link specifically to the resellers that I know have similar stuff to what's at my mom's house. So if you're here because you're a shopper and you want to buy, man, you just hit a gold mine finding this today, because I'm going to give you all kinds of people that you can shop.
Oh yeah.
You come back.
I'm not the only one by any means.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Miss Pat. So this is Pat Doodles. Also such a sweet thing. She's got a she shed, and she's got her she shed full of her treasures, and she does sales. And I'm actually going to join Pat Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm only bringing a couple of things because I just want to come and keep her company, and cheer her on, because she's got the cutest little things. She doesn't usually get a lot of people in her sales, but it's too bad because she's got great stuff. All you owl hunters and
I try. I try on Saturdays to stop in at Pat, and then at Serendipity by Melanie, and stop in at Melanie's channel. And
and she's bouncing. Pat is bouncing her sales around right now, trying to figure out that sweet spot to not be on top of other people, which is a really difficult thing.
That's really, really hard. I mean, I got into this a year ago when there weren't as many.
Yeah.
So I found a little spot that works for me, because when I do my live sales, they're at 11 p.m. on a Thursday night Eastern time. Because when I work till 10 p.m. So that still gives me enough time that usually, this last week was a little challenging because I had car issues, but usually I'm home in time and I have everything set up ahead of time and I can be live by 11. And so we jokingly call them the night owls. But that spot didn't have anybody else in it because it is so late. And I get a lot of people from
your spot
and California, because they don't really have too many people on for their evening time.
Yeah, so babes.
So while I'm missing some of the East Coasters that are during the day, there's so many other channels that are picking them up. I don't worry about it.
So when you took the night off, when I had my very first live solo sale with babes, we took your spot. We did do it an hour earlier.
Right.
Anybody else, it's Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern. But we took that spot, I think it was like a week and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And man, we went for like 3 hours, almost 3 hours. And there was still so many people that, it was early for them. All your California people talking about. They're like, keep going. And I'm like, yeah.
I know. I saw the end and you were dragged by the end, but that's quite nice. And it works for me. And then Mel has slid into that hour gap now where she starts. Serendipity by Melanie, because she has an amazing collection of brooches that she's been selling off from her, because she at some point had an opportunity to buy out a jewelry store.
Yes. Yep. Serendipity by Melanie has a lot of great things. And in fact, she is one of the, I think she's one of the highest recipients of a lot of the auction lots that came from Madame Rack's house through Curiosity Incorporated. So she's got a whole period. She was buying for a year, and now she's, she wants to do the reseller thing, and she's starting to do sales. And I think some people might have like drifted away from her channel for a little bit because she wasn't selling anything. She was showing things, and now she's selling. And all those people that have subscribed to her that turned off the notification bell, you need to go back and turn that bell back on. By Melanie, because she is selling that awesome stuff.
Yeah, because of where she's at in Canada, she had trouble with the internet cutting out on her. So she was having trouble with the lives, but she's gotten that addressed and taken care of. So she's back to doing her sales, and she's got great stuff. And and my stuff, like yours, we run the gamut of what we're gonna have.
Yeah. So Teophane, I believe there's a connection between hoarding and depression. Not only is it accurate for you to believe that, but they're actually working on adding hoarding to the DSM for psychiatrists to start treating hoarding, and absolutely depression is a part of it. Now, it doesn't mean that the hoarder knows that they're depressed or will acknowledge that they're depressed, because my mother absolutely would not talk about mental health. She would not talk about depression. She would not talk about loss. She would not, and absolutely refused to go seek any kind of cognitive tools to adjust her world. She was happy in her world. She liked that dopamine. She liked that adrenaline rush of going and finding cool stuff for $2, But absolutely, it is a lot of mental.
Oh, absolutely.
Christina, seeing the video.
I didn't grow up in a hoarded house. She didn't have all this stuff. But when my father died, it ripped the wind out of her sales. And then a friend of hers died, and she inherited all that fabric. But then as her health deteriorated, I noticed more stuff was being bought with intent, but nothing getting done with it. And that's a challenge for any crafter, as we all know, but it went into overdrive with her. And,
Christina's comment here, seeing the video that you took to submit to hoarders was very eye-opening on the full extent of the situation in the house. That video was very unexpected to be able to do that. She would never even, she would check where my phone was most of the time if I were to enter the house, because she was paranoid that I would take pictures and show people and things like that. But before, so my mom had bought another house. She bought a farmhouse after my grandmother passed away. My grandmother passed away in 1999. And her and her siblings went through my grandmother's estate. And of course, my siblings didn't want, my grandmother was a pack rat. She was not a hoarder. She was a pack rat. She saved everything. And anything that my mother's siblings didn't want, my mother took. So that was where a lot of the storage unit stuff and things like that came from. And then on top of that, she inherited quite a bit of money from my grandparents' estate when she I think it was like $250,000 or something. It was enough for her to buy the other house. So she bought the farmhouse. Her intent was, empty this place, get out of the city, be in the big house with the barn and all that other stuff, and sell stuff, and be at the co-op and all those other things. And that's where it's funny because it came up on when I did the interview with Antiques and Profits on Scotty's channel. Chris had asked me, where did she get the money to buy all this stuff? And then I was just like, I really don't know. And then I started thinking about, going backwards and thinking, I was like, oh, she inherited a lot of money at one point. That's when she started buying some really expensive stuff that got hoarded in here.
Yeah.
So I just, sometimes you moving forward, you forget the backstory.
Yeah. And see, my mom raised 6 kids, and, and our dad made decent money for the time. But he liked to spend it on his girlfriend.
Ah.
So mom sewed my entire life. I remember from my earliest age, mom sewed to help with bills, because anything for birthdays and stuff was on her to pay for it. And she was a stay-at-home mom. My parents were a good bit older, and she was pretty sick by the time I came along. So
I don't want to interrupt, but apparently you see it. I have not. Oh my God.
I have it on my to watch list. I saw it pop up and I'm like, I'm not going to watch that right before this.
Oh, I am so glad I didn't see it right before this.
Yeah.
That's emotional. That's going to require me snuggled up with babes and probably yeah. No. Oh, thank you for letting me know, Stephanie. When you're live streaming, your notifications go silent. So glad I didn't watch that before this. That would have been something.
So
hoarding.
I saw one comment. Somebody asked if we were going to do a live sale together. Maybe at some point. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Nancy and I like this time slot, and that's why we took it. And we figured, even if we get together and talk about random stuff on Sunday afternoons, if we decide, we don't have anything to talk about, and we just want to sell stuff, the time slot will be here. I can also envision if we get some people coming in, if we're able to drive an audience that has knowledge over some of the stuff that I have here, or some of the stuff that Nancy wants to show. There's all kinds of possibilities, for us to just not stick to a routine. I mean, this one is just chat with Jan and Nancy, the next one could be
too is showing stuff to like Jen could put something up and go, okay, help, what is this?
Yeah.
And
then I have Instagram
where I can show it. And then not only am I teaching Jen, like we talked about me showing some postcards today, which we've already gone through an hour. I don't think we're getting to the postcards. That's fine, because I forgot to bring them downstairs.
Oh, good.
So that's okay. But easier to explain what she should keep an eye out for if I show her examples than it is to try to figure it out to text or, say it in an email or something. But at the same time, this way you guys get to see the cool stuff as well that we're finding and questions about it, or help us, because some of you have a wealth of knowledge out there too.
Oh yeah. Yes, a lot of stuff I have no idea how behind I am. It's probably really bad. So let me just catch up real quick. A lot of people are definitely talking about their personal experiences with hoarding and the emotions with it. And Candy, I hope you send me an email, girl. You and I need to just chat for a minute so I can give you a great big hug and tell you it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and we've both
you are. I know exactly where you are right now, Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is nice to.
Candy,
I was so happy.
That too. I'm just further along in the process than Jen is.
Mm-hmm. First vaccine. People talking to each other. Yeah, Candy. I hope you come back, honey. I hope we can lift you and motivate you like this community has done for me. My Smurfs are working. Hey, Glenn.
Oh wow, you are way behind in the chat.
I'm clicking fast here. I'm clicking fast.
Well, Tia Fane has a good question.
Okay, well,
What items do
I'll
you
get
think
there in a second. I'll get there. I promise.
you'll get there in about a minute and a half?
That's what I'll get there. I'll get there. One of the biggest parts that people need to understand about me with this journey is I wanted the people. I so
Yeah.
wanted the people, and I love the people, and my God, they are just flooding my inbox and my channel with their personal experiences, their prayers, their blessings, their hope, their love. I goosebumps just thinking it is why I did this. I needed support. I needed that positive energy. So
Oh, yeah, because you're just so overloaded with stuff
well,
in that
and
house.
I'm a very emotional person. So I need that energy. Because I pick up on other people's energies. I am very empathic, and it just if
Yeah.
especially with COVID, everybody was so everywhere I went, I was picking up on just how frustrated people were and picking fights with each other about whether their mask was over their nose or not. And just so many people were going through hardships. And it was like, it got to the point where I didn't want to leave the house. It was too
Yeah.
much. So all of a sudden, this channel, I mean, I launched this after a pretty depressive weekend. I mean, I hadn't been here in months, and I didn't know what to do next. And that's when I launched the channel. So long and short of the point I was trying to get to is I don't want in this live chat format when I don't
Mhm.
selling anything and there's no limits and there's no rules. I don't want to miss anybody. I want to make sure that everybody knows how much I appreciate you spending time with me, you being here with me, leaving me comments, sending me emails. There's like four people, including Nancy, that I'm texting all day long, and we send each other voice messages and just
Oh,
goofy little and it's awesome. I went from being devastatingly alone in this
yeah. And
being
I am so thankful to find you because I already went through a lot of the parts you're going through now, and
Mhm.
I didn't have support, and I don't have family support
I'm
about
so
this.
sorry you had to go
They
through
just
that
don't
alone,
get it. They're
Nance.
like, "Well, just get a dumpster," and I'm like, "Yeah, but this is paying the taxes, or this
Oh
is
my
paying
God.
the car repair."
If
They
I had a
just didn't
quarter for every time
get it.
somebody said that to me, just get a
Oh yeah,
dumpster.
just get a
You don't get
dumpster.
it.
Like, the dumpster already happened. The auction of furniture already happened. The big
Well,
stuff
yeah, I did
already
talk about
went. This
Vicky.
is all the smaller minutia that, and some of it because I wasn't the one packing the boxes. There's some stuff that I don't even know what's in the boxes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh God,
we're
Candy.
already.
Candy might be another one of my soul sisters, Nancy, with all the stuff that she's going through. And
Yeah.
I don't want to minimize it, but Candy, you and I should definitely have a one-on-one chat. I really think that, I can help. I can help with some of that emotional turmoil you're dealing with. Yes, you're helpful, Paul. What a goof. When you pick up a pile of stuff like Nancy and I, and there's no place to set it down, the fact that you're giving her warehouse space to set it down and make room, that's amazing.
Just so that I can actually create a room that I can have shelves so that I can sort and a better desk and a spot to video.
Yes,
This is great.
it's hard to do. Babes, I love you. He wants to buy stuff from Paul. We're down there, and I'm just like, no more stuff. Yeah, I don't. A nice side living building setups for others. Still what you guys. Let me try that again. Blah. Honestly, Dean could make a nice side living building setups for other sellers. Still love what you guys have for the sales.
Get in line.
Yeah,
Get in line.
I'm gonna
Get
I'm gonna
in
let
line.
him. I'm gonna let him. I'm not gonna speak for him on that stuff.
Lilac, I love your name, but get in line.
It's Christina. That's Christina G. I wouldn't know where to begin for a channel. I'm a scaredy cat. I have an upload coming up that is an absolute riot, and it's all about how it's just focused on how do you become a YouTube reseller. Now, mind you, I've done 2 sales, and I'm like, okay, this is how you I go through everything Babes and I are doing and all the mistakes, and I can't tell you how many boxes that poor man has had to reopen and repack as we're the shipping and 6 inches cuts off $10 and all this. I mean, we have learned so much in the past week about shipping. It's absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I've got a video coming up, Candy, and maybe it'll help. And as for launching your first video, just hit record. Put your phone in front of you, hit record, talk about whatever's on your heart, and post it. Let it go. Just cannonball right in. Yeah. Holy cow, behind. Oh yeah, Babes made another contraption. I gotta get video of it. Not cheaper than therapy. Curiosity Inc. Tammy found me. Thank you, Candy. Definitely. Nancy will be a good cheerleader for you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, well,
and that's part of why
all right, Pat. Come on down, Pat. Pat's going to come visit
why
me.
I could be a cheerleader is because I've already gone through a lot of the parts you're going through now.
Yeah.
And I've already had to deal with the depression and find a way to work around it or to work through it and figure out what the triggers were so I don't do those things, and to make sure that, you know, I had some mental balance in all this. And because you go through stuff, especially when it's your parents, you find out stuff that you didn't know. You find stuff you didn't expect.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
Brings up a lot of memories, good, bad, and indifferent, and that's a roller coaster in itself that can be a challenge. And I've already had to do all that. Jan is neck deep in doing all of that. And
the freaking stamp collection. What?
Yeah, that blew me away that you had no idea.
I have no idea.
I'm going to have those moments when I finally get to Mom's cedar chest, because I don't know what's in there. Never allowed in that. None of us were ever allowed in the cedar chest.
You need to strap on a camera and you need to go open that chest.
I know there's letters in there back and forth from my parents when he was in the Navy during World War II. And I was told that I was to burn them. Now, you know, I'm not gonna. Right. I'm gonna be reading those.
I found some. I don't know the name of who the soldier is, and I've been finding other stuff that apparently is between that couple, and I still haven't researched where that couple. Hey, Harry, where that couple came from.
My big bugaboo is that I have things like, you know, I found siblings' baby book for one of my siblings, and it's all filled in. Mine has my name in it.
I was an only child, so I'm the filled in one.
Can I tell you how many arguments my mother and I had for decades? What do you want for your 21st birthday? I want you to fill in my baby book. I found out at 18, my baby book had my name, the date, the weight, the name of the parents. It has the first page filled in. That's it. Nothing. It's pristine the rest of the way. Everybody else's is all filled in. My stuff's on a calendar somewhere here in the house. Wow. So somewhere there's a calendar from October 65 and 1966, and all that stuff is written on the damn calendar. I tell you, you still find stuff where it's like frustrating, because it's like, why? You know, did you just forget that you had a 6th kid if you wrote the name in? What?
6 kids? Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 6. And we refer to us as the older 3 and the younger 3 because my mother had polio. So the older 3 are kind of close in age. And then there's a 4-year gap because Mom had polio. And then every 4 years was another kid. And then I was the last one. So Yeah, they're Teofane. Yeah. By the time you get to the younger kids, there's very few photographs because they just don't think to take them. You know, there's pictures of this beautiful little redheaded baby and a toddler, but after the age of like 6, there's very few photos of me until high school when there were pictures I took.
Stephanie, you didn't upset. I'm pretty good at bouncing back, so don't you worry.
Yeah, I am the last child. Somebody did ask if I was the last one. Yes. There's my sister and I are 14 years apart. There is a 16-year age spread between the oldest and me. And mom was so happy to have another girl, but after that she was like, we're done.
Ooh, this is a good question. Items do you think will be the hardest to let go?
Yeah, that's the one that I saw. Teofane had a good question.
So, well, Nancy doesn't necessarily have to let it go because she's not trying to sell her house. She's trying to recreate her family's estate.
Yeah,
Right?
I'd like to restore the house,
Yeah.
partly because before my parents were only the second owners, and there's a lot of history for this city tied to the family the house was built for. And the city would love to see me get it registered as a historical landmark, but then you're limited to how you can do repairs and what you can do. So I'd rather get all that done first.
Yeah.
Before
I think the hardest thing that I'm going to have a hard time letting go of, two different categories. First it's going to, I'm not going to have a hard time, but it's going to be a hard time to go through, if that makes any sense. When I'm actually got the for sale sign in front of the house and when it's sold and I can no longer come back here, that's going to be an emotional journey. But I think that everyone that experiences, inheriting homes of family members or friends or estates,
and how many
I think,
Jan, how many generations of your family have been in that house?
well, I have grandkids. They've never been here. My son was here when I was a teenager because I got pregnant and had him very, very early.
Mm-hmm.
And then myself, my mother, my grandmother was raised in this house. She was a child in this house. So her parents, which is my great grandparents, and their parents were still alive. And they came over from Germany and brought everything that they owned from Germany. And I mean, they had their own home here in the city, but I mean, when they lost their
I know exactly how you're going to feel. It will be a rough time. The family house in my family was not this house. The family house was part of a twin in Norwood, PA, that went back to my great grandparents.
Wow.
And that's the house my mother was born in 1929, and she was born in her grandparents' house. And that house, one brother was living in that house, and then things happened, and they ended up losing the house to sheriff's sale.
Yeah.
And everybody in the family was affected by that because, that was the family house. And the other family house was the one that the other grandparents of mine had built. And I would have loved to have bought it, but there were issues about that and with that side of the family. So that didn't happen. So now that one's out of the family as well. So we don't really have a family house.
Candy, I am so excited that you came here and that you and I have crossed paths. I can't wait to talk to you more. Can't wait.
I'm trying to think, for me, the hardest thing that's going to be to let go is probably going to be some of the photos, because I have the family photo albums, and Mom was getting some of the key photos. She was getting them copied for all 6 of us, which was great. But there's a lot of others, because there are photos here that go back to the 1800s, and trying to decide where they're going to go, because my son doesn't want all of them, but some of his cousins do, and some of my nieces want them. So it's, you're trying to figure out how to divide all that up. That one's going to be rough because a lot of those photos are ones that, you know, I have been around my entire life and have some connection. And I'm sure there's going to be things in that cedar chest when I get to it that I'm gonna like have a tough time with.
Yeah.
I know her wedding
and
dress there.
that's where I was going to go with the second thing, you know, after the initial, you know, the house is gone that everyone experiences, you know, that's not an isolated thing to me. That's anyone that's gone through this. The next part is going to be the pictures. So I am finding albums right down to the great grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
They are these elaborate photo albums that are all, they have all this stuff on them, and they have special little padlocks on them. And they, I mean, it's obvious that back then recording your family legacy was huge, and that really doesn't exist much anymore. I mean, my kids are millennials.
Yeah.
Kids even more so, you know, they're just, they don't want stuff. I mean, they want some stuff, and if they find out that something is worth, like, you know, $2,500, like I found out on when I went live with Dr. Lori, that painting, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want that horse painting." I'm like, "Yeah, I bet you do." You know?
Yeah, but, and we had some stuff that, like, we had Remington brass statues.
I don't know what that means.
Were based on the Remington art of the cowboys, and those suckers would have been worth a couple of thousand, but I don't know where they went off with different siblings. And because one
Mary asked if you're the last child. Are you the last child?
I am. I'm the last one. I'm the only one that had issues with the doctor too. So every one of us is born on or within a day of a holiday except me, because the doctor wanted to go on vacation. So he argued with my mother that she couldn't possibly know the right due date for me. I'm child number 6, people. So he insisted on inducing her. I put that poor woman through 30 some hours of labor before I showed up. I swear I was holding out for Halloween. She swears I was holding out for Halloween, but that stupid doctor wanted to go on vacation.
Here's another question for you, Nance. I don't know if it, I mean, feel free to not.
No, I'm not. Because all of them have the other, well, the one in California gets it, but he's the oldest. But most of the others are all of, 2 of them are flat out jealous that I got all the stuff, because somehow they think it's worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. Not. Maybe all accumulated through all the work and time, but if you added the time factor in. But they have other issues with me for other reasons too. But the other 2 just think it should all just throw it away. Just throw it away, and if you miss anything, you just buy a new one. With what money?
Yeah, and if everybody's got that disposable mentality. Yeah,
it's not a disposable mentality, and there's some stuff that you can't replace because it has an attachment to it.
Yeah, but not only the attachment, but I am an only child. My mother was all I had. My dad was gone by the time he was never around when I was growing up. So my mother and I were so close, and this is what she wanted for me. You know, she was scared that I would never get there. She was scared that I would never appreciate what was really here. And it's funny because when I was making that past, you know, that video of just going back to the beginning after I was so affected by the new Curiosity Inc. series, it occurred to, I heard it, you know, and especially when I was editing, I heard her voice, and she was like, everybody's going to think it's junk. And I've learned it's not junk, but
no, it's not.
And it's not a regret, because I know that she's watching down on me, and I know that she is absolutely ecstatic that I get it, that I didn't just throw it all in a dumpster.
Oh
I
yeah. Oh yeah. I know.
understand the
100%.
value of what she
Yeah.
left me for an inheritance. Now, she left me an enormous amount of work, and
Yeah.
we get really creative to do it. But I mean, Babes and I want to sell the house, and we want to go live in the country, buy land, build a great big barn where I can have a wood shop on one side and he can have metal on the other side. We can do projects together because we love to build stuff. We love to engineer stuff. And that's my dream. And my mom is actually making it happen. I couldn't see
Yeah.
that in the beginning. In the beginning, all I could see was, what have you done? You weren't supposed to
Oh
go
yeah.
this
Oh
soon.
yeah. And I know 100% that is 100% one of the reasons why I got the house and all the stuff from mom. 100%. Because she felt everybody else would just dumpster it. They wouldn't
Yep.
make an effort to find home for it. It would all, and here's somebody who was born in, in June of 1926. I mean 1929, and the Great Depression hit that October. So here's somebody who was raised in a house with 8 adults where you did not waste a thing. You held on to it, reused it, repurposed until it was just falling apart beyond repair. And so she had that idea that you just used it all up. You didn't just willfully and willy-nilly just throw something away. It wasn't a disposable life,
Yep.
for objects. And so I know it's not just the disabled brother was why I got the house. It was because she knew I would honor that.
Yes.
And take
My
care
mom
of
didn't.
it. And Nancy, that was the same thing with the book. I knew I would honor that and not dumpster it. So that's how I ended up with the third inheritance. So
yeah, at some point, I didn't, and again, I've talked about this in my videos, and I don't want to necessarily rehash stuff that people already know, if they've been following me. But in the end, her mind wasn't there. She was an absolute child. She didn't remember anything. It turned out that it was actually a stage 4 glioblastoma brain tumor that she had been hiding from the family, but at the same time she wasn't aware. It was already taking away her brain processing power, so she didn't even know something was wrong because she wasn't processing thoughts that way. But in the end, I know that she wasn't sure how I was going to do this, how I was going to handle it. If I was going to just leave the house and let the city take it, or let somebody, buy it all with one price or anything like that. And I took some time to make that decision. And the decision that I made was to honor my mom. And I don't regret it, but I've learned, and she stuffed notes in little things. And
I've seen you find a few of them.
You've seen me find a few, but the ones that I was finding in the beginning, I'll have to see if I can scroll back on my Facebook page or something and see if I can find some. But I mean, she literally was hiding notes all over the house for me. So at some point, even though we were fighting about whether or not I appreciated her stuff or not, she somehow believed that I would come to it. And she out of it. So she's like sticking things in books, and I found things which I wasn't doing any video, I wasn't doing any pictures. I'd open up a book and she'd have this goofy smiley face and say, "Aren't you glad you opened this book and checked the pages before you threw it?" I'm not kidding. Oh my gosh.
Man. Now, I've been through that where you've had to check every single book, because my grandparents' house, they squirreled away money in books and important letters and documents. And I sat on the floor going through this one bookshelf, which was just a little small, maybe 2 feet wide bookshelf, and it had 4 shelves. And by the time I was done, I had $500 sitting on my lap.
Yeah, she
because
didn't
they
stash
throw
cash. She
stuff
spent
away.
cash. She didn't stash any cash. She
Yeah, my
spent
mother
cash.
didn't stash cash either,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So as I'm finding these little notes, I remember back to one Easter morning when I was a kid, and she must have stayed up all night. And there was like an index card under every piece of furniture with, "Oh, you're getting too far away," and "Don't you wonder what's in this basket?" There was like 50 of them. It was a really memorable
She turned
holiday.
it into quite a game for you.
She did, and she did that on purpose because it seemed like as soon as I was feeling just the sheer weight of it all and was ready to just walk away and lock the door for a couple months or something and go find something else to do, I would open something, or I would open like a suitcase. There was this old vintage suitcase that looked, I don't know, it's got to be over 100 years old, but it's not a trunk, it's a suitcase. And I opened the suitcase, and in the suitcase is all of these McDonald's toys from the early 1990s still in the package. And then she had the audacity to put a note on top of this pile. And she put the same little smiley face, two little lines and a smile. And that was her like image symbol that she would put to me. And there would be a smiley face in there, and she put notes like, "You gotta open everything." I'm like, are you kidding, Mom?
I love it. I can't tell you how much I love that she did that, because first off, that shows, even though you guys were fighting, that shows such an amazing amount of care for you.
Yes.
That she would do that. I didn't know I was getting the house.
Oh yeah.
It was a surprise. What irked me, and I still have frustration over it, is apparently at least 2 siblings, I know the other 3 didn't know, but 2 siblings knew about it, and nobody said a word.
Yeah, I didn't know for sure until I found
I haven't found any notes, and I really wish I could, because maybe I'd find one that said, "Why the hell didn't you tell me?"
Yeah.
It would be cool. And the other thing too is a note like that is such a nice connection to your parent, because they're still your mom. No matter what happened, they're still your mom.
Yes.
And if you had any kind of relationship at any point that was good, you're gonna remember that. And that
I don't care how hard your relationship is. There is nothing like losing your mother.
Oh yeah, there's not.
I never knew the level of grief, because there were lots of times where she would just go live her life and I would live my life, and I wouldn't hear from her for a month, but it sucked the air right out of me for a long, long time.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
Good idea, Vicki. I'm assuming that's
I had my nephew, so I had to keep going and keep functioning. And 3 days after the funeral, I got told, "Okay, well, we'll pay the estate will pay the taxes, but now from this moment on, all the other bills for the house are on you." And I had just gotten this one particular job, so it was only part-time for a little bit, because mom's polio was a polio survivor, but her physical strength was getting slower and weaker. So I was raising a nephew, taking care of her, taking care of the disabled brother, and then she passed away very quickly in the space of like 3 days. And so then to get suddenly dumped on you that you're inheriting all of this, and with the house comes the brother that's in there. Which, fine, but shouldn't there have been a conversation first?
Yeah.
So not only is there grief, there's this massive amount of frustration at what had been dumped on me, as I felt then, especially because not a word was ever said. Nothing.
Yeah.
So I love that you get little notes, because it shows that there was a lot of thought and care that she left you stuff to help encourage you to keep going, which is great.
Babes wants me to add the boat to the
Babes wants a boat.
Not a big boat. We just want a little, we want to go fishing, just an open bow, small boat, but we can't do that until we have a bigger place to be able to store said boat.
Yes. Bigger barn.
Bigger barn. Candy, it looks like Candy. I'm going to read these back afterwards. It looks like you absolutely went through a lot. Jan, what was this live supposed to be about? Whatever we wanted, wherever the conversation goes. We talked about it beforehand. I have no idea what time it is, so I don't know how long we've been going. We'll probably
been gone for an hour and a half.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it. I think we should wrap it up in like 30 minutes. So I put it, Anna, from watching you and knowing of relationships like yours and your mother's, I respectively offer that she knew you better than you knew yourself. True story. True story, Brett. She definitely did. Oh, I wonder if there's money buried in the yard. Somebody told me that. They said at some point I need to have somebody come research.
You found a safe in the wall you never knew was there. So yeah, you should have that yard metal detected.
Yes, the yard should definitely be metal detected. Babes has to keep working on the key, but he's busy. He's himself shipping manager. Oh gosh. Wow. He has been working so hard.
I'm leaving you for a second, Jan.
That's okay. Yes, Julie. Yes, very much so. I do. You know what, Melissa? I took pictures of the notes. And, at first I had started a private Facebook group to myself, and I just had people that I knew in the group. And that's where I was posting my feelings, my emotions, and the things that I found. So I do have some of those notes in digital format and, creating things like that digitally, because I can't, the amount of paper was absolutely overwhelming. And as cute as the notes were, there was no place to set paper that I was going to keep. So a lot of them, I've got pictures of. I'm so sorry about your dad. That's terrible. Old certificates for my stepfather's mom. Still have your 4-hour live sale on my TV. You haven't gone past 4 hours. That's funny. The live sale was super fun. Nancy, I actually caught up on chat.
Oh, really?
How cool am I? How cool am I?
I noticed Candy had a question about old certificates.
Yeah, let me highlight that one for you so you can read it.
My cousin had to deal with this. So old certificates, the first thing you have to start with, if I'm assuming you mean like stock certificate, you have to start with the name of the company and hunt for who bought the company. A lot of times it's just that the company may have gone out of business and been done, but with all mergers and acquisitions, that will sometimes track, and you can actually get them to honor the old certificate. So there may be value in some of them, but it takes the legwork of trying to track down, did they go bankrupt and dissipate, or were they acquired or merged with another company? Because a friend of mine, I call her my sister, just like I call June my aunt, it's just because we were all raised together. But she had to go through hunting down all those companies. And it turns out she had early phone stock that eventually was bought out, tracked all the way to AT&T. And she had some railroad stock that ended up being tracked to CSX, which is still in existence, which is a freight line railroad. And so she did find some from her grandfather that tracked from the 1930s that she managed to track all the way up to companies that had merged and acquired them. So they were still legally bound to honor the certificates.
Maybe
see old stock certificates and they think they're worthless, but they're not always worthless. But it is hard to track down the company and where they are now, or if they did go out of business or bankrupt. Because if they went out of business or bankrupt, you're done. They're no good.
Nance, they're worthless if you know they're cashed in, right?
Yes, if they were cashed in, then they have no worth anymore.
Because I've found some here, and it's cool because it's like old paper and it's all.
But there are people that collect them too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll sell those too.
Yep, you could. I sold mine a long while ago.
Yes, a metal detector for both of you girls would be fantastic to see what's in this overstuffed home yard. I haven't done
I want to metal detect the mansion down the street in the worst way, because it's sold, but it's sitting there empty, and it's been sitting there empty for about 10 years now. But they took the porch off, and the house was built in the 1830s. And usually where you find stuff around an old house is where the porch had been, because stuff will fall through the wood slats and just gets lost. So that's
so smart.
That's because I watch Drew. I watch Relic Recoverist and
gotcha.
Treasures, which are both about metal detecting. So
yeah.
And
well, maybe we'll do that after the house is empty, and so Babes is going to be working on painting. So we still have an open citation. I haven't uploaded that content yet either. I had a couple of different volunteer groups that came and helped out, which was actually more work than it was. As much as I appreciated the volunteers, it was like a youth group of boys and stuff.
At the moment, I have no open citations, but when we took the vines off the side of the house, it tore apart part of the gutter for the porch.
Yep, so that's what happened to the back. There were trumpet vines, and they were through boards, and they went through the windows, and they went, all that other stuff. But the house does need to be painted. So
mine's got that.
We want to do that. This maybe not summer, but maybe fall. When it's a little bit cooler. But we definitely need to do that to get that citation closed, and then the other citation that has to be resolved before I can put the house for sale is the truck bodies. So the truck bodies that are back there used to be an L-shaped building when my great-grandparents owned the house. So my grandmother was little, and it had chickens and goats in it. So it was a chicken coop, and they had goats and stuff like that. And I played in there as a kid, and eventually it deteriorated and it fell apart. And when it fell apart, you couldn't just go to Home Depot back then. I think I was like,
no, you couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't go to Home Depot and buy a shed or anything like that.
No, you'd go to the hardware store, and then you'd go to the lumber yard and you'd build your own.
Which my mom was on her own. She was a single mother, so that wasn't something that she could do. So the circus was going through town, and our city here didn't require a permit to create an outbuilding back then. So advertised these truck bodies as outbuildings, and it was included in the price that they would bring the trucks into the yard, set them up on railroad ties as a shed structure. So she bought 2 trucks. One of them is, I think Babe said 20 feet or something, like 20 or 24 feet.
Wow.
Big. It's like 3/4 of the very backmost of the yard. And then there's another smaller one that's shaped like an L. And then all this stuff where she had planned on like setting up old doors on the outside of it and everything else, and making it like this kitschy little L-shaped shed. Never happened. Collected all the stuff for it, but it never happened. But those 2 truck bodies, they have to go. And there's
Do you know what's in them? Is there still stuff in them? Or
the first year I worked in the truck, and so they were all like raccoon infested and squirrel infested, and a whole bunch of the stuff
was been there, done that.
Yeah. And it was all from her antique booths and stuff like that. So anything that was paper, gone. Any books that she had out there and everything, I mean, they were just shredded beyond recognition. But a lot of her glassware and ceramics and stuff like that, if the box didn't get knocked down by squirrels and broken, that
Yeah.
stuff is in there. So that stuff needs to be cleaned and checked. And a lot of that stuff is really valuable. You know,
Yeah.
and we found recently, um, well, it wasn't recently. I don't remember what it was, but I learned very quickly, stop opening these boxes because it's all sellable stuff. It's valuable stuff, and you need to be able to take it out of the box, put it on a shelf, clean it with a white
Yeah.
cloth, that type of stuff. So I've been in there, and right now it's still full of inventory, but at least it's cleaned out. All the squirrel nesting and all
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff, that was gone. The upstairs back porch, the downstairs back porch, they were all squirrel infested. I had to clear all that out. But anyway, the trucks have to be cut down. That we literally are going to have to go at the trucks with a sawzall when we're done to remove that from the property before the house can be sold. So those are the two citations that Babes is focusing on. Other
That
than
may be something where you can put an ad up that anybody who can get it out of there can have the metal for scrap for free.
Yep. We will probably do that at this point. I mean, at this point, back then it was just, I was like, I got to do everything myself. I don't have financial.
Yeah, that is the first step you go through is, I got to do it all alone. And then now I tried having some help, but they were more interested in going through like the jewelry boxes or, the purses. And I'm like, that's not where we're working today. Okay. Can we focus on, let's deal with the dining room and what's here? And I couldn't, so I didn't ask again.
I hired somebody that was, I had seen him walking around the neighborhood before, and I was out front, taking care of the hedges. So I didn't get a citation for the long grass, and the overgrowth, because the city, this might come as a big surprise, but the city did not like my mother. So she had gone many, many years with lots of citations, and, she was on a first name basis with those guys. But anyway, a guy walked by and said, hey, I can do that for $10, cut the hedge. And he was like, I could money. And I was like, great, and I gave him $10. And I mean, he did a relatively crappy job, but it was enough to, not worry about overgrowth and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Within the next week, all the gardening tools, the lawnmower, the wheelbarrow, it all disappeared from the yard. So in me thinking that I'm helping somebody out that says that they're in need and I could use the money and they're willing to work for it, it's just not everybody's kind, and
not everybody's kind. Not everybody
have ulterior motives, and I have to learn.
Mine were relatives.
I'm it. So I mean, I'm not fighting over this stuff with anybody.
Which is good. Which is definitely good. It can be more exhausting when you're by yourself, but as far as on an emotional level, there's something to be said for it.
Because you can, on the emotional level, you can process at your own pace.
That's true.
And there's times where I'm high energy and I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff and I'm grouping stuff together, and then I'm selling big box lots to resellers. I mean, I sold you a box lot of stuff that's, you're gonna.
Yes, I think you gave my mailman a hernia.
Yeah. But I mean, I love those connections. I did the same thing with Larry. I sent him 150 DVDs, and I mean, it was a box lot. It's not a valuable antique. I don't feel like my mom had an emotional attachment to any of that stuff, and I'm fine giving somebody a super sweet deal and letting them deal with, so it's not getting thrown out or going, to charity. It's going to other people's livelihoods. These resellers made me realize that these $2 items that I'm dropping off at Goodwill, this can sustain their lifestyle because they are
Yeah.
willing to, like the paper doll books is a prime example, you know,
Yeah.
super
I'm
slow
very
rate.
select Jen knows, and I've had two people that had watched my channel that emailed me questioning why was I buying more, and one of them
Yep.
was very irate about it. And it's like, well, first off, what I'm buying is usually the higher end, like a nice piece of Fenton glass or a piece from Northwood, or it's
Yep.
to supplement the stuff that I have. That in that
Yeah.
sale, I try to have some gems. And some weeks going through stuff here, I don't necessarily find any. So I
Yeah.
try to have some, and that means, well, then I'm going to go source. But for me, this is a financial aspect that I have to look at that Jan does not. So for me, there is that has to be looked at. So
Yeah.
I do have to buy occasionally, and I'm very selective
Yeah.
about what I'm buying. I also have an eBay store and an Etsy store, and both are really underfilled right now
Yeah.
because I've had health issues, I've had heater issues, and I've tried to juggle all of that and the live sales, and I don't have as much space to organize as you do. You have gotten to where you have shelves. I don't have that. I have
That's
a
crazy to
shelf
me.
over here.
That's crazy to me
for
that
the
I've accomplished
eBay
that.
stuff. Yeah, because it was so packed, and as soon as I would get a room cleared for one, I'd inherit another one. And then the last one was 6 years ago, and 4 years ago was when I had to give up the storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seemed like you never got enough empty space. It's like that sliding puzzle. You got to move this here, to move this over here, to move this here, and you never got a big enough space at any one time
Yep.
to start setting up shelves.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of challenge, but I can't wait to have shelves. I can't wait because then I can put
you gotta just
that.
find that floor, Nance.
Yeah.
I pull out my tape measure, I measure the shelf, and I concentrate on just making the amount of floor space required for the shelf, and then go from there. Stephanie, no, there's
I
no
definitely have the plan of that. That's what the black hole challenge is, so that there's a whole room that's set up. Because the other problem I have too is I keep getting interrupted. I have a disabled brother that lives with me, and when he's bored, he comes to find me like clockwork every 20 minutes some days. And his disability is physical, not completely mental, but the judgment skills are not 100% for him. So I need to have somewhere where I can go, look, this is my job and I'm at work, and I can shut a door. And that's why it's become that I need, not only do I need shelter, I need it in a place where I can shut a door.
You'll get there. I have no doubt.
It's definitely getting there.
No, there are no, the open citations are simply citations. As long the city, as long as you are actively trying to do something about it, there's no fines associated. It's just listed as an open citation. So there's no fees to pay. But the truck body, removing the truck bodies, like I said, I can't sell the property because there's no permit for those to be there. So that's the one downside. Well, I did not keep up well with the chat messages, but I'm looking forward
There's a good one.
Which one was that?
You asked it. About did you both answer the question, do you research for prices?
Wow. So Nancy is one of my sources. Absolutely. She's got a lot of knowledge already because she's been at this for like 14 years, you know, doing this.
Yeah.
My research started with like sitting down, discovering Dr. Lori and her 600 video binge link, and just Google and a notebook. And, you know, we would sit at night and, you know, Dean watches his YouTube content, and I'd sit there and watch my YouTube content and researching, and all these resellers are teaching me. And if it's something that is unique and it's not easy to find comparison prices for, I know that I either need to get an appraisal for it, or now I've recently started posting stuff on Instagram, which is how I found out Josie's, I can't remember. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Jose found it and was able to find me a recent sale for the same lamp, and I was able to work it out with the customer on the value. But yes, I research everything, mainly for me, because I know it was important to my mother, and also because this is my inheritance. There was no cash cow when my mother passed away. There was no cash cow when my father passed away.
Yeah, and see, I had no cash cow either. First off, any cash got split 6 ways, and then I got the house, so I got left. So
my answer to this is yes, I research everything, and those are my reasons. And I'll give Nancy a couple minutes to answer that one as well, and she can tell you what she does. And then we're probably, I mean, unless people want us to stay, we'll probably wrap up. You think, Nance?
Yeah, we probably should. We both have packing to do.
I don't. Babes has everything packed.
Yeah, I know. You have a helper. I'm a one-woman show here.
Yep. Babes has everything packed. Invoices are out. Got like 3 more invoices to go out, but man, is it a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah, it is rough. And don't do like I did. Don't get behind.
I know. I'm so grateful that I was on vacation this week. You know, there's no way.
And my packing is all on the 3rd floor, and my desk is on the 1st. This is why I want to move my office area to the 2nd floor. So I've only got 1 set of stairs to deal with. But for me, I absolutely am always researching stuff. And in my live sales, I've actually said when I couldn't find something comparable, I will make it an offer up and let the market at the live sale decide what its value is. And they'll tell me, sometimes there's been stuff where they go, that should be an offer, make that an offer. And they'll tell me to make it an offer up. That's the
one thing that's amazing about this community. I mean, they don't want to take advantage of you
as well. They're trying to be fair to us. And when I have, because my live sales are a lot more vintage stuff, not necessarily newer stuff. The pop culture kind of stuff and the toys tend to go onto eBay, and the craft stuff kind of goes to Etsy for the most part. But I will let them kind of set that market, but I do cut my live sellers a break, and if I find comps or something, I usually knock about $2 or $3 off of what I'm seeing as the comp to offer to them. Because they're giving me a break in that the only fees then are your PayPal fees. You're not paying any extra to any other party. So I'm basically passing along the kindness of being able to have shoppers at a live sale.
So much kindness. So the next time we do this, we're going to do this next Sunday as well, Nance, or no?
Yeah, I'm off next Sunday. So
next Sunday, we're going to do this as well, but we're going to do it on Nancy's channel. That way, you know, if anybody
and I have 750 subscribers now, so thank you. I've picked up a few.
You're welcome. That's very exciting. I hope they all want to buy stuff. I hope all of the shoppers for your reselling world, I hope they all want to buy stuff. That would be great. So this was awesome. Julie Smurf and Yvonne, thank you guys for posting so many links. You guys know me. You know I want to promote everybody that's out here and their channels, and you know, get them the same encouragement as I do. And I am going to go back through this chat and get all those links for the resellers. And I'm going to put them in the description so that people have, new sources to get vintage stuff. Because I know that a lot of people popped in and out today and they were like, what? People are
Oh yeah.
on YouTube? What? Oh yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's a corner of the world that a lot of people aren't aware of yet,
I see one question, Jen, that was specifically to me that I want a quick answer, because
Okay.
Stephanie Patterson had one about getting my brother to help.
Oh,
My brother
I tried to skip that
you
one.
tried to skip that?
That was
So my brother has a heart of gold, except my brother is extremely passive aggressive towards me because he's 8 years older and I inherited the house, not him. He felt he should be the one taking care of me, but he's got health issues and he had an accident that caused some brain trauma. So there's some passive aggressive issues, which is why there's not a job that I can give him that applies to the reselling. He has jobs about helping to take care of the house. But for this part of it, he's anything to do with this stuff, the stuff that got inherited, there's a lot of passive aggressive that causes problems there. So I just try to, keep him busy with other things. But for me, that's part of my journey is, I take care of him and he doesn't, it's not like he's a little kid mentality. He doesn't need a lot of taking care of, but there are times, and I have 4-legged kids too, that have crashed my live sales, the one cat. So
crashing in a live sale is a bad combination.
Yeah, well, I know, but she tries to. At least she doesn't lock herself in a room like Dee's cat, who locked itself into a room. So,
all right. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. This is the first time I've done this. This is the first time Nancy has been a guest on another channel. So please, if you want to chat with Nancy, if you want to sell with Nancy, if you want to do a collab, if you want to get her cell phone number so that you can text her and ask her.
You're pushing it, Jen.
She's a great.
You already make my phone go up when I'm at work.
She's a great resource, and she is definitely overlooked for her knowledge and for the stuff that she has. So if there's any resellers watching, please consider reaching out to Nancy and allowing her to be a guest with you and help her channel grow, because pretty soon it's going to be her major source of income, her only source of income. So
probably by the end of this year. Yep.
Probably by the end of the year. But we're going to wrap it up. I'm sorry we went over. Next time we'll try to stop at 5 o'clock because I know there's other stuff going on. But hey, thanks everybody for coming to see me. Nance?
Then, yeah, thank you guys for coming to see both of us. This has been great. And I hope I see some of you Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern time on my channel, because I'll have a live sale that night. Yeah. And you can come have fun. And even if you don't buy, you can come have fun in the chats. Yeah. I always rewatch the chat afterward because there's so much you miss, because there's no way to catch everything that goes on in the chat, especially during a live sale, because you have other things that you have to do that have to do with selling the stuff. So so definitely check out the list. Go subscribe to all the resellers that have been posted. Pat Doodles is having her vintage sale tomorrow night at 9. I'm going to be hanging out with her on her channel. I'm not doing a lot of selling. I already told her, I just wanted to hang out and have fun with her, and I'm really looking forward to it. I just love her. She's such a sweet thing. And Sandy Otto, I don't know everybody's schedule, but there's so much I want everybody to know, but you'll figure it out. Because I can tell you right now, there's 4 of us that are live in the reselling community. Yeah. There's you and I, there's Reclaim Treasures, Junking Data Girl, and the Pink Elephant Parlor.
Yep. So if you want to buy stuff, get on over to those pages.
Get on over to those,
All right. On over to them. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
All right, bye.